Hey one hey all, welcome to Monday, welcome to Countdown Day, and today we're going to be counting down the top 10 Transformers as voted on by fans all across social media who look better in their alt mode than in their robot mode, right? This is a chance for the alt modes to shine, this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey one hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you are at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that, man, is in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or, of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And like I said, this is, as voted on by fans, the top 10 Transformers who just plain look better in their alt mode than their robot mode, right? The robot mode looks like trash, but man, chef's kiss to the alt mode. Not often we get the alt modes to really shine here, but today we will. Our honorable mentions, we have two. They had the exact same number of votes, not enough to rank on the list. The first is G1 Ironhide. Now, to be fair, some people said Ironhide or Ratchet. You can't vote for two. It's only one. And to be fair, a lot of votes this time around were disqualified. I'm baffled at how I can simplify the word one. I really don't know how to make it any clearer than one. But I still get people who will say, like, every beast. That's every. That's not one. Or they'll say all of G1. That's every. That's not one. I don't know how else to make it more simple. So unfortunately, there were a lot that got disqualified because I got to be fair to everyone, right? One person, one vote. Got to be fair. So these are the honorable mentions. G1 Ironhide. I suppose if you prefer G1 Ratchet, and I get it, same mold, but that's not what the question asked. The question asked for one Transformer, not one mold. The other one is Bay vs. Starscream. Obviously, we all know the famous Dorito Starscream, as they like to call it. His robot mode looks very, we all know how bad it is, but the vehicle mode, man, did that look splendid. As a plane, you saw it and you were like, man, yeah, Starscream all day long. So, yeah, Bay Starscream and G1 Ironhide. They did not make the list. Didn't rank, didn't have enough votes. So who did? You know what we're going to do? We're going to do what we do every week here, man. And we're going to kick things off with number 10. Burst. Coming in at number 10, we have G1 Wheelie. I thought that this was a really interesting one, and I'm shocked that it ranked. Wheelie's robot mode, I mean, looks like a kid wearing a cap. Now, to be fair, this is the Studio Series 86 Wheelie, but I get it. The robot mode of the G1 is just atrocious. I mean, the whole kind of roof section comes up and becomes like the bill of a cap all the way out. The face is just molded on, and sometimes it's orange, sometimes it's gray. It looks terrible. The long, lanky legs and the overextended arms, the robot mode is just awful. But the vehicle mode is kind of a bubbly, futuristic car. Now, I don't know if the 86 is necessarily the best iteration of this. I still kind of like the Titan's Return. However, when we look at the animation, it does come across as a very futuristic vehicle. And you can believe that Wheelie is fast, while also being able to kind of bump around and go off-road just a little bit. He's a fun-looking, bubbly, futuristic vehicle. How can you argue with it? Looks pretty neat. Plus, you know, orange really stands out. Just saying. G1 Wheelie takes the number 10 unexpectedly spot. Coming in at number 9, we have Wheeljack. Specifically G1 Wheeljack. Again, this is the Kingdom one that I'm using as an analog, but we all know that Wheeljack is a Lancia race car, right? Lancia Stratus, I think it is. Race car, and like, even this one is fantastic. Whether the MP or the G1 or this one. What an excellent, excellent looking, sleek race car. Plus, it's a nice interplay of the greens and the reds on the somewhat white color, usually white color, as well as all of the add detailing and the detailing on the side. The Kingdom one, or the, was it just Kingdom? Maybe it was Earthrise as well. Anyway, the War for Cybertron one does a nice job of giving an homage to it, as does the MP. But we all know that Visually speaking, not only is this sleek, but with all of the ads and the colors and the line detailing, there's a lot going on Wheeljack that makes him a very attractive vehicle. Not to mention, the guy could go super duper fast. Wheeljack and his Lancia alt mode take the number 9 slot. Number 8 was another surprise on the list, and it's Nah. Yeah, it's the Sharkticon Nah. Who would have ever expected it? And what's interesting is the people that voted for this voted explicitly for Nah. And this is the Studio Series 86 version of it, which was the one that got the most votes, though I will mention that the Cyberverse got a couple of votes, as did the Titans Return version. And the justifications given all the time were really the exact same thing. Nah as a shark, or the Sharkticons I guess in general, but Nah as a shark, I mean, he has a tail flail that's threatening. He has huge chompy teeth and hands that can grab you and pull you into his gaping maw of a mouth with these very sharp teeth. I get all of that, but they said that's way better than his tubby, bubbly robot mode where he looks like he would be clumsy and cumbersome. I get it. You see the robot and you feel like the Sharkticons are going to be slow. They are, of course, dim-witted, but they're going to be slow, they're going to be clumsy. They come off as ineffective. But when you put them in their shark mode, they come off as absolutely terrifying. And for that reason, Nah takes the number 8 slot. Coming in at number 7, we have G1 Tracks. Now this is the Kingdom version, but it serves the purpose just as well. G1 Tracks, of course, we all know that the robot is kind of tall and lanky. And as much as I love the G1 Tracks, and I did love that, the legs and the lower body, I mean, was a brick. It didn't articulate at all. And while I thought that that was made up for with the arm articulation, both of my arms on my G1 Tracks broke off, and they were prone to breakage because of the design. A lot of people don't like the robot mode of the Kingdom one here and say that the legs are a major issue. Luckily, mine hasn't been and works exactly as it's supposed to. I actually really like the Kingdom Tracks. A lot of people prefer the robot mode of the Generations Tracks, and I get that, although the alt mode there is wildly stylized. This is an approximation of what we see better in G1 and in MP, of course, a Corvette C3 model year 1980 to 1982. But I mean, come on. A lanky, kind of weird looking, somewhat questionably articulated robot, whether we're talking about G1 or the QC issues on this guy, or even the QC issues on the MP, because that's noted as having a bunch of robot mode. Nobody can deny that the blue Corvette with the decal on the hood, man, oh man, this thing was, is, and probably ever will be a beautiful alt mode and a beautiful vehicle for Tracks. And that's why he takes the number 7 slot. Number 6 goes to me Grimlock, and I love this. So, this was so wild. Some people tried to vote and say all the Dinobots. Again, that's not one, that's all. You had to pick one. Some of the votes that came in for Grimlock specifically, a couple of them were for the Fall of Cybertron Grimlock, and a couple of them were for the RID 2015 Grimlock, and one for the Toxitron Grimlock, but most people said G1 Grimlock, or the 86 Grimlock. So I'm showing with the 86 here, but come on, our lovable T-Rex boy who can, you know, also be vicious at the drop of a hat? What's not to love about Grimlock? Fans love his T-Rex mode enough that he was able to take the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd as we have reached the ever-coveted, ever-popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark today we go to Beast Wars and Transmetal 2 Megatron. And honestly, the justification was pretty much the same universally for people that voted for this. They said, first, come on, he's a purple and like red dragon with orangey translucent wings and gold highlights. Like, he just jumps out right away. The second thing they said is the robot mode, while threatening and cool looking, because of the way everything encapsulates around Megatron's face, it looks like you're taking the regular Megatron head, the regular Megatron face that we all know, and just dressing him up in a costume. It feels like he's cosplaying as a dragon. Like you could take the costume off and either the Transmetal 1 or the original Tyrannosaurus Rex Megatron is right there underneath, because all of this is just a costume in robot mode. But when he transforms, we see the full glory of the treacherous, the dangerous, and the certainly effective dragon mode. I mean, where do you even begin to address this thing? Where do you even begin to battle this thing? Optimal Optimus certainly had a challenge on his hands. Yes. And in the show, when we see this guy for the first time in his dragon mode, it comes across as threatening. It comes across as monumental. Transmetal 2 Megatron, and the glorious red dragon that he is, takes the number 5 slot. Coming in at number 4, we have this guy. Studio Series Rise of the Beast Mirage. And he transforms into a licensed, see if I can get this right, Porsche 911 or 964, I don't know why that's usually put in brackets, Carrera RS 3.8, which apparently is like the regular Carrera with like customized parts on it, basically. It was sort of a very specialized car, really, that was done up specifically for the film, because there aren't, I guess, any more being produced or some such thing. I think like some are in private collections or that sort of thing. So it was a very interesting way that they went about not only choosing this alt mode, but bringing it to life on the big screen as well. That said, when we look at the Studio Series 1, you can see all of the paint and all of the love is put here into the car mode. When it comes to the robot mode, we know that it's Studio Series, so there's junk hanging off. And they went back and redesigned some parts. I don't know how successful it was. A lot of people seem to have problems with the forearms being clear or at least translucent plastic with a little bit of paint. Maybe should have had more paint. But the love is definitely in the licensed vehicle mode. It's just too bad that there's that one section on top where we have a gray hinge that didn't go painted with the glorious silver that covers everything else. Yeah, Studio Series Rise of the Beast Mirage takes the number 4 slot. Coming in at number 3, we go to, well, really the biggest of Transformers with this guy. HasLab Unicron. I get this. I think in planet mode he's certainly acceptable. He's gigantic. The Ma is impressive, though I am somebody who really thinks it should have been the correct color all along. Certainly, if not done in like orangey plastic paint. I don't know. The ring, I do wish that the ring was more simplified so that it looked accurate to the animation, but it's undeniable that as a planet, it is certainly an impressive piece. And a lot of people prefer it over the robot because, quite frankly, the robot doesn't look that great. It's not exactly animation accurate, what with the mismatched asymmetrical chest, though it looks interesting, no doubt. The 8 abs instead of 6 abs, and the unpainted lower jaw. Some people don't like the fact that the back, which is supposed to look like the front, if you know the animation, doesn't, because there's obviously a bunch of planet junk back there, and they don't like all the junk on the legs. The fact is, the dude needs a stand to stand up. I get it. I, for one, was never, ever, from first reveal, a fan of the robot mode. But I do give the alt mode the respect that it deserves, as do a lot of fans, enough of them, that the alt mode of the Planet Unicron was able to take the number 3 slot. And now we're at number 2, and at number 2 we have probably one that a lot of people expected on this list, but this is the only one that I'm technically showing in both modes, because it's G1 Megatron! So this is Hegemon, and he's holding the Dr. Wu version of himself in his Walther P-38 mode, which is really weird, but I specifically wanted that because even though Hegemon transforms into an approximation, I guess, of that firearm, the truth is, there's no way that you're going to be able to handle something like mass shifting without having a separate robot and a separate little piece here. Same sort of thing as having the Centurion Pack version of Reflector as the little camera, or the little handheld version of Shockwave, or the little cassette version of Soundwave. Whether you have one of the iterations that has come out officially of Megatron or something like this third-party iteration, yeah, we all know just how threatening and dangerous he is. What with his stock and his silencer and his scope and all of the accoutrement that makes a dangerous Megatron already dangerous. Not to mention that apparently in this mode, he's even more powerful than his fusion cannon is in robot mode. As far as the explicit G1 goes, we all know that the helmet seems oversized. We all know that this comes out the side. We all know that the trigger is right in the middle of his pelvis in a very awkward location. And he has kind of weird, long, weird-looking, thin, skinny legs. Yes, a very odd robot with an oversized head, kind of stumpy arms, skinny legs, odd placement of the trigger and this piece. There's a lot to not like about the robot mode of G1 Megatron, but there's a lot to like about his alt mode as well. G1 Megatron takes the number 2 slot. And now here we are, tippy top number 1. And number 1 is, I can't argue with it, and I doubt anybody will be able to. Number 1 is clearly, by far, this guy. That's right, Armada Sideswipe. Oh man, oh man. So he's a mix of a couple of Nissans, a Sylvia, I think, and what was the other one? Because I took note of it. A Sylvia and a Skyline. So he's bits and pieces of both of those Nissans. And in vehicle mode, it's very clean. It's very robots in disguise, honestly. I like it because it's the sort of vehicle that, you know, it's not a concept car and it's not a this, it's not a that. You could see that parked on the parking lot. But then we go to robot mode, and there's a lot of car junk on the lower legs sticking up, which would obviously wildly hinder the articulation. The arms are very long and gorilla-like with more car parts hanging off. It's obvious that the design of the robot was an afterthought to get such a clean-looking alt mode. Yeah, Armada Sideswipe. How can you argue with it? Beautiful alt mode, atrocious robot. Takes the number 1 slot. And there you go, 10 down to 1 once again. Very interesting list that went all over the fandom for sure. Other ones that had votes, Gamer Edition Barricade, 07 Barricade, Gamer Edition Cliff Jumper, Gamer Edition Bumblebee, G1 Motormaster, Alternators Tracks. Some people try to say all of Alternators. Like, again, that's not a vote. G1 Optimus Prime, MP Hot Rod, G1 World. Yes, G1 World for sure. Skyfire or Jetfire if you prefer, Alternators, Sunstreaker, Rat Trap, Skylynx, yeah, what a weird robot Skylynx is, but man, that shuttle. Goldbug, specifically G1 Goldbug. The Ark had a bunch of votes. Everybody said everyone bought the Ark for the Ark. Ironically, I actually bought it because I wanted the last Autobot. I didn't care at all about the Ark, really didn't care. But the last Autobot is what kind of sold me on it, so to speak. Although, to be fair, I was really, I wasn't sure I was actually going to get it at all. Big shout out to Ultra Megatronus for hooking me up with the Ark. TLK, Hot Rod, Prime Predaking. Prime Predaking, another dragon, much like Transmetal 2 Megatron. Transmetal Megatron, the original, G1 Scavenger, just G1 Sunstreaker. Studio Series Lockdown had a nice bit of support as well. Revenge of the Fallen Sideswipe, Siege Optimus Prime, who else can I throw in here? T-30 Chromia, Rise of the Beast Scourge because of that monster death truck, MFT Overlord, Titans Return Overlord, Siege Ultra Magnus, which I thought interesting because I thought the robot mode for Siege Ultra Magnus was better, but some people that voted for it said that they preferred the RID 2001 vehicle homage. Power of the Primes Jazz, G1 Ultra Magnus, Night Scream from Beast Machines. The Earthrise, Starscream, right? That's that Seeker mold, but specifically Starscream. I get it. The robot is not animation accurate, but man, you can't argue with the alt mode of that F-15, I think it is. Who else do we have here? Armada Sideways, G1 Brawn, Armada Blur, Revenge of the Fallen Demolisher, Revenge of the Fallen Mixmaster, AoE Leader Optimus Prime, MP Skywarp, Lugnuts, Reflector, the Hiss Tank Megatron, Fangry, Prime Ear Arachnid, Cybertron Undermine, I don't even know that character, Studio Series Jet, Shatter, Studio Series Optimus Primal. Interesting. I feel like in the images I've seen, I prefer the robot mode for that, so that was an interesting one. And Legacy Bulkhead. Them and a whole bunch more. There was a lot of voting that went on this week, man. A whole lot of support for the alt modes this time around. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. Please, while you are at it, hit the subscribe button. Stick around and have some fun with us here on the channel. And especially don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, whether you know it or not, feel it or not, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way, right here inside the videos.